everyone, I'm Shannon, and today we're going to talk about grief. I have been hearing from a lot of you that you're feeling stuck around grief and don't know how to process it. It's very complex, and it's not something we really talk about in this culture. We're sort of left to deal with it on our own, and at some point, people just expect us to be over it, to get over it, to move on, right? And I find that a lot of people, just myself included, don't know how to do that sometimes. How do you move on? How do you get over it? How do you let go? I'm going to do a tapping exercise to help you start to process some of what you might be feeling. So just thinking about grief for a moment, what does that mean to you? A lot of times, of course, I think the first thing that pops into people's minds when we say grief is that somebody died, someone we love died. And obviously, yes, it can be a person, it can be a pet, but we can also grieve endings, ending of relationships, ending of a life as we knew it. Even if we're moving into something that's new and exciting and good, we might be sad about what we're leaving behind. Maybe a home, maybe an old version of ourselves. I've definitely been through that. I went through this grieving of this old idea of who I was, that I never really was, but it was how I identified. Grief is very complex. It has a lot of layers, and it can get stuck in our body if we don't move it. So we're going to do a tapping exercise, and tapping will help us to move the energy. And what I actually find works really well for a lot of people is if you actually stand up and move around while you do this exercise. Maybe sit down once, maybe get up and move around. Some people like to kick or punch while they're doing these things. And remember, you can tap with just one hand or both hands. It doesn't matter what side of the body you do. Grief has a lot of different layers. There are things like sadness, of course. There can be anger. There can be feelings of abandonment. Lots of things just can be triggered. So I want you just to follow along with me, and I want you to come back and repeat this exercise as often as you need to. Try it daily for a couple weeks and see what you notice. And as you start to move these emotions, you're going to feel and notice other things starting to come to the surface. Okay, so maybe if you initially feel a lot of sadness, we're going to start to move that sadness out of the body, and you might start to notice some anger deep down there, or I don't know, be curious about what might be hidden there. And just notice. If you like to journal, I also suggest doing that after. Just be curious, notice what comes up, and know that this is a process. For some people, you're able to move things out fairly quickly. And for others, it's going to take a long time. It can take years. I know that for me, a very big situation was when my dad died. And my dad died 11 and a half years ago. And I still am peeling the layers of that onion, okay? So think of it like that. When one thing clears out, oftentimes we're gonna find something underneath. What I want you to do right now, if you have pen and paper, you can jot this down. So take a deep breath, and I want you to tune into whatever that situation is. Maybe put your hands on your heart. Did somebody die? Did somebody leave? Are you leaving a situation, a place? What is it? And oftentimes these things are very intertwined. So just notice what comes up for you. And I want you to tune into the feelings of sadness, anger, fear, whatever seems to be coming up for you when you think about this person, this pet, this situation. And I want you to notice on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least, 10 being the most, how strong each of these emotions are. And go ahead and jot those things down. We're going to just jump right in. And we're going to start tapping. And remember, I want you just to kind of shake your hands out. You can just follow along, repeat after me. If anything that I say doesn't resonate, you can substitute any words that you want. If anything comes up really strongly, you can just stay there and keep repeating. If you're not feeling anything, which sometimes does happen initially, it's a protective mechanism. That's okay. You can just tap and say, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything. I don't want to feel anything. Whatever seems to be happening for you. If anything is very strong, just stay there. Keep repeating maybe the same phrase and come back and repeat this as needed. So just taking a deep breath in. I want you just to start tapping on the side of the hand here, and you can use a couple fingers, the whole hand. My heart is broken into 1,000,000 pieces. And I'm not sure that I'm ever going to get over this loss. My heart is completely broken. And I don't even know how to move forward. We're going to start tapping on the points. My heart is breaking. I feel all of this sadness coming up already. My heart is broken into 1,000,000 pieces. I don't think that I'll ever get over this. And I'm not sure that I even want to. Because if I did let this go, if I did move on, what would that really say about me? That I didn't really care. That none of this ever really mattered. What would people think if I moved on? What would I think about myself? It hurts so much. And I'm so brokenhearted. And I'm angry that this happened. Why did you have to go? Why did this person have to die? And I want you just to fill in the blank here about whatever your situation is. Why did this have to happen? I don't understand. Everyone wants me to just get over it. They want me to be okay because it makes them feel awkward. And I'm not ready. And I don't know how. Because of that, I feel completely alone and isolated. And even other people who have lost something don't seem to understand. I feel completely isolated. I don't know what to do. And so right here, right now, I'm giving myself permission to feel. To feel whatever it is that I feel. Sad, angry, afraid. You can fill in the blank with whatever emotion is coming up for you, emotion or emotions. I'm feeling it in my body. I'm feeling it in my nervous system. It's running the show right now. And I'm open right now to just calming down a little bit, to allowing these emotions to move through my system. And you can feel free to get up and move while you do this. To allowing some of this emotion to become unstuck, even if just a tiny little bit. It doesn't mean that I love you any less. It doesn't mean that the loss is any less. But I don't want to feel stuck. And so I'm allowing, what percentage of this are you allowing to move through your system? I'm allowing 5% to move out of my system. I'm allowing 92% to move out of my system, whatever number feels good to you. And I'm going to hold on to the rest because I'm not ready to let this go yet. I'm afraid to let this go because then maybe I'll forget. And I don't want to forget. I'm not ready to forget. I don't ever want to forget. But I'm open to remembering the love. And knowing that the love is a deep bond that will always stay with us. The love will never leave. But I'm open to knowing that it's okay to let go of the sadness and the anger and the guilt, and to holding on to the love. Knowing that the love will never go away. And just for a moment, even for 30 seconds, I'm willing right now to let go of the sadness and the loss and the guilt and the pain and just feel the love. And knowing that every time I do this exercise, I can allow those feelings to leave for just a bit longer, a minute, an hour, a day, whatever feels right to me. Not because anyone tells me that's what I should do, but because I feel ready and that's what feels right to me. Knowing that we'll always be attached in love, we'll always be connected by love. And just being open to feeling those feelings of love right here, right now, and settling in to the love. I want you to go ahead and take a deep breath in. I could even feel some tears coming up there. I can feel it. So notice what you're feeling now, the feelings of sadness, anger. Taking a deep breath, close your eyes. How strong do those feelings feel on that scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least, 10 being the most? And notice the feelings of calmness. Do you feel calmer now than you did when we started 10 minutes ago? Notice the feelings of love and connection. Is that different also? What are those on the scale of 1 to 10? You've shifted in this short period of time. Grief is very complex. Know that this is a process, and whatever you feel is right, and don't let anybody tell you what you should be feeling. And know that you're not in this alone, and I'm sending you love and healing light as we all go through this process together. Sending you love.